welcome to Dear Katie, the podcast that amplifies courageous voices and real stories of resilience, healing, and hope after trauma. Inspired by the many letters Katie has received over the last 20 years, each week she interviews survivors, healers, and experts to honor their stories and explore the many paths to healing and hope. Before we begin, please know, many episodes of Dear Katie cover sensitive topics related to sexual violence, trauma, and recovery. Listen with care and take the space you need to take care of yourself. Your well-being is what matters most. Now, let's join Katie and today's guest for a conversation that matters.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. As you all know, I am Katie Koestner, your host, and I'm so delighted to continue this journey of healing and learning and growing from every single guest we have on the show. And I'm sure today is going to be a similar fantastic journey. Keep those journals handy. Take a moment if you get overwhelmed. Just feel like you need to take a breath. This is, absolutely one of those moments when you can push pause and come back. And do remember, we have all kinds of resources right on the Take Back the Night website, and our hotline is always available for legal support if you feel so inspired to take some action in that direction as well. So I'm just going to share just a smidge about Kaila and let Kaila really tell you a lot more about her own story. But Kaila, I believe, is in California, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Southern California.
And she's a new author. Her book was called Fetishized, Reckoning with Yellow Fever, Feminism, and Beauty. It came out in the summer of 2025. It's about her own experience. I'm sure we're going to learn more. But Kaila Yu, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I said California. I know that's where you are now, but is that where you were from originally?
Yeah, I was from the suburbs, so Upland, California. It's like kind of a small city that most people, I live in Hollywood now, but like most people have no idea where it is. But it's like, I guess, maybe 40 miles east of here.
Okay. Outside of LA to the east.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think most people might not know exactly where Hollywood is. I kind of picture it on the north side of the city, but I don't know if I have that right.
Yeah. Well, Los Angeles is such a sprawling city. I don't even know where the center is really, but it is like adjacent to like downtown LA and then next to West Hollywood, obviously, but then next to like Brentwood. So yeah, I guess it would be kind of in the middle. I don't know, from my point of view, at least. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And so that's where you grew up. Did you have siblings? Like, what was growing up like for you?
Yeah, growing up in Upland, I had a little brother, and he's 3 years younger. And it was a very just like safe, boring suburb where back then, it was safe enough. I mean, our school was, a couple blocks away, so we'd all just walk to school by ourselves and play outside with the neighbors. So, yeah, it was a pretty typical or like uneventful childhood.
Okay, and so it was just you and your brother, and your parents, did you have two parents? Were they home a lot or working?
Yeah, my parents are still together. They both worked during the daytime, but they were home every night for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was more like the traditional Asian dad who was like the provider and kind of hands off. And my mom was very, very involved. She was a typical, what they call tiger mom, very strict and very wanting high performance from us. So,
oh gosh.
After school, we'd be enrolled in like additional SAT classes, and then I had to play an hour of piano and like memorize speeches and do all this extra stuff.
Oh gosh.
I was really not happy about it when I was a kid.
Well, maybe it paid off later if you got
it paid off, but at the time I was very unhappy about it. Obviously, because when you're a kid, you just want to play. Yeah.
Right. Of course. So, and beyond the forced things that you were doing, was there any particular thing that you really enjoyed doing, like for a hobby or a sport or music?
I loved singing, but I didn't do it in any kind of like formal capacity. I'd
Mhm.
like put on little shows for my family, but I really love to sing. Um, I don't know if I had any other real hobbies. I don't even know if I had that much extra time.
Yeah.
But I've always loved to eat. I don't know if that
That's
counts as a
I mean,
hobby.
that's a
Yeah.
professional, either professional eaters and professional chefs, so no
Yeah.
worries. And then how did you decide where you went to college after high school, and how did you decide where to go or what you were going to study?
Well, it's funny because when I was going to high school, I was like the perfect obedient child who got good grades. And then I met bad kids around my sophomore year. And then I started like rebelling and ditching class, and like my grades fell dramatically in the next couple of years. I think originally, like my mom had hoped I would go to like Stanford or UCLA. And I didn't get into either of those schools. So the best school I got into was UC San Diego. So I just went with that. But I was really happy about it because I would be dorming there and not living at home anymore.
Yeah, that's good. And plus, San Diego's a great city. So, and if you can afford to live there and be on campus, right?
Yeah.
And what were you studying at UC San Diego?
Well, I had no idea what I wanted to study. I honestly, like in my mind, always wanted to pursue something entertainment related. So school wasn't like, I had no aspirations to be anything, but it was always understood that I would go to college, the end.
Okay.
But I didn't have, I kind of thought, okay, maybe I'll be a plastic surgeon because they make a lot of money. Um, but I started off as a biology major and I hated OChem and I hated the classes and they were so hard. Um, but also when I was in UCSD, I kept rebelling and the rave scene was really big during that time. So I had a boyfriend who liked to partake in raves and smoke a lot of weed. Um, so honestly, I started doing all of that and I guess becoming my mom's worst nightmare of
Was
what
that in
happens.
the 90s? What years are we thinking?
Yeah. So I graduated in 96, so that would be 97.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, so you're in college and you're doing the party scene, and I guess your book is about one specific incident, I believe. So maybe set us up. Like, how did this all transpire? Were you a first year? What was going on in the world around you?
Yeah, my book is about kind of like the fetishization of Asian women and how the media perpetuated it, but it centers around this experience, which has like, impacted my life for decades.
Hmm.
But yes, so when I was in high school, there weren't any Asians in the media at all. Like we see so much now, you can't even imagine how little there was back then. There's like K-pop now and all this stuff. But back when I was growing up, there were no female role models for me to look up to. So when the internet started, I found this Asian model named Sung-hee Lee, and there were just so many websites dedicated to her, calling her the most beautiful woman in the world. And it was the first time I had seen such a beautiful Asian woman. So from that point on, I kind of aspired to be her, and she became my idol, and I collected her photos and magazines. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'd want to like be a model and actress like her one day. So when I got to college, I was like, oh, well, now I can like maybe try to pursue this. I obviously couldn't do that while living under my mom's roof. But so when I was in college, I just started like submitting to, I mean, the internet was so new back then. There was nothing that you could find online. So I would look in like the school newspaper for their ads or like their equivalent of the city weekly paper.
Okay.
Yeah. So the people I was going to were not really legitimate model agencies, you know. several times I went, and it was always like a middle-aged man. I was willing to do, so the Sung-hee Lee, my idol, she did like Playboy, and I was willing to do like very classy pinup photography, but I was not at all interested in like doing anything hardcore or anything like that. And several times I would show up for these test shoots, and the men afterwards would always be like, well, you could make a lot more money doing this. And I would always say like, absolutely not. That is not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, I had been to a couple of these castings, and it's like these castings always took place at the men's houses, which was like, I had no frame of reference for anything. So I didn't think anything of it really.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple ones were fine. You know, they took place at the houses, but nobody like did anything inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And then on one of them, actually the first time I met this guy was not at his place. So and I believe that I looked up this one from the school newspaper, like in the want ad section. So it seemed safe because it was in the school newspaper. But it was like some casting for models, and I show up to meet this guy, and he has an office space. It's not like a fancy office or anything, and I think it's just like a one room situation, but it is like at an office complex. And he shows me a bunch of like the magazines, and he's like, yeah, I cast for this and this and this, and you know,
Hey,
whatever.
Actually, thank you for like, wait a minute. I'm like listening, I'm thinking, I'm like imagining it, just a lot of it. And I'm sitting there like thinking, okay, you're about 18, right?
Yeah, 19, I think.
19.
Yeah.
And you're going into these, did you have your own car? Were you taking public transportation? Like, I'm just curious, like what it all looks like. You're so excited, looks like big opportunities. And you're going in with lots of trust. And then these, you know, I feel like when we're that young, because again, like Kaila, remember, like I'm 18 on the cover of Time magazine. So things go really fast and furious when you're exposed to a bunch of, like, you're getting exposed to that, all those different, like, test, you know, I'll call them interviews or, you know, photo shoots. And I'm like going to test the waters on public national television. And so it's like I'm trying to remember that same period of my life and how I felt when I would meet people and who made me like get the creeps, even in like you know what I mean? So here's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I think what I was really be interesting to hear about from you is this idea, like, because we have listeners who are like your age and when this was going on, and they're so curious, like, what's the norm? And even though they have the internet everywhere, it's still not good enough to like explain how real life is. So let's just imagine you show up in this like one room office, like the one you were just describing, and you see this guy. Are they all white? Are they all over the place? Are they like are they 20-year-olds? Are they 50-year-olds? Like, what's your perception? Are they like all bald? Do they have big mustaches? Do they have like creepy clothes, the leather jacket? Like, what's the whole vibe? Is it clean? Does it smell? You know what I mean? Like, what's it feel like to do this? Because I can still remember all of those things from like what I was doing at that age, like dealing with my rape. So this is before, but this is all like, what's the context look like for you? And because I know you clearly are brilliant. So I just wanted a little more detail.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to say it's never normal to go to a casting at a man's house.
Yeah.
That is not normal or okay under any circumstances.
Good.
I had no one to ask, and I don't
Right.
think back then there was any like internet website. Like, there's more information now that you could probably look up, but
Yes.
there was nothing. This wasn't normal, but one of the ones, and all the men were like, I feel like they all looked the same.
That's
They were
what I was going for. I was like, I bet they all look like the same white guy.
Yeah, like a brown-haired white guy that you would not notice, just like
Yeah.
some, middle-aged, older-looking
Middle-aged,
guy.
like a slightly
Yeah.
overweight. I'm picturing like maybe sort of shaven, thinning hair. I don't know. I'm just like doing the total stereotype.
Yeah, it was very generic, and I can't even point out anything like particularly, like they weren't tattooed. They were just
No.
like a regular guy,
And did
that
they
you might see at the grocery store.
smoke? Were they smokers?
No smoking
What
that I
about
remember.
posters of mostly nude women? I'm picturing like what's hanging in their office. Is it just
No, so the one guy that was a little bit creepy had just like a regular house, like an average house with a big backyard, but it was in the suburbs, so all houses have a backyard.
no kids and no partners anywhere, right? Like there was no one else
I don't
around?
remember seeing that yet.
Right.
um,
Okay.
I remember there was like another model leaving as I came in, so that seemed very normal.
Mhm.
And we weren't even shooting nudes there. We were just shooting like pinup stuff. So like a Maxim type of shoot.
Mhm.
So very sexy, but not nude. And he was fine as a photographer. Like I think I felt comfortable with them. But
Mhm.
photographers are always saying things. They're always like, "Oh, you look so," they say these things to make you feel comfortable, and it's not necessarily creepy. I feel like it's just something all
Yeah.
photographers do.
Mhm.
So they're very encouraging and complimentary. And it was all fine until afterwards, when I was about to leave. He took me into another room with a computer and just kind of showed some more other stuff he did. He's like, well, I do these photos here, but I also do more hardcore, and there's much more money in this.
Mhm.
And I was just like, I'm just not interested in that.
And
But as in
whenever you would say I'm not interested, any of them keep trying to like persuade you?
I don't remember them trying to persuade after that. Yeah.
Okay. They just let it go.
I think they would just kind of test the waters, and I was very much not interested.
Okay.
And the last guy, I remember thinking he was very nice. He was extremely nice. I didn't get a creepy feeling off him.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I don't remember a creepy feeling. I think I might have even been kind of excited because, like, the guy that I just mentioned before, he showed me a calendar that he was working on. It was like terrible quality. Like the photos weren't great. But this other guy showed me like all the known calendars. Like, I'm sure he didn't cast for them, but he had the calendars I wanted to be in, the magazines that I wanted to be in, and he was like, I cast for these. And now looking back, it's crazy that he had an office. Like, he must have been doing decently well to also have an office rented out for this purpose.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like I left that session excited. And yeah, my parents had bought me a car, like a used car, so I was driving around. These always took it. I lived in La Jolla, so UCSD is in La Jolla. And then I would drive to mostly, I think it was like downtown San Diego or San Diego Central, where these auditions were taking place. And I didn't really tell anyone what I was doing. I don't know why. It wasn't like it was a secret. But maybe it was kind of like I had a boyfriend at the time.
Right. You mentioned.
Yeah,
Did he go to school with you?
No.
Okay.
He was friends with my close group of friends, but I don't think was actually going to college. He was kind of like a dropout. He wasn't doing that much. but he encouraged me to get into modeling. But I don't remember sharing about him. I think in my mind, I didn't want anyone to make fun of me for wanting to be a model, and I would just show them after I was,
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And so for this last guy, I went to the casting, and his was in like a very nondescript, generic apartment complex.
Mm-hmm. And wait,
Not
Kaila, just so I'm not totally confused, but I think you're talking about the guy with the office that you weren't creeped out by. So now you're on a second thing with him.
Yes.
You go back.
Yeah,
And how did it come about that he asked you to come back?
So I don't remember like exactly the details. Like when you mentioned remembering all the smells and all the details, I don't remember so much stuff. Yeah.
It's like, it's just, I'm curious because like, I think it's amazing. I'm so happy we get to do this discussion and talk about your life, because like, I'm just trying to glue this patchwork quilt of all of our stories together and just start to learn about like why do we remember things the way we do, and what's, snaps at us, and what like makes us feel so pissed off, and what do we just like numb out too. And I think it's so interesting just to try and understand that as part of our process. So thank you. That's all. So you're not like, it's not a test. It's just like, what do you remember? It's no right or wrong. It's just really interesting to me. But go ahead.
I'm pretty sure after that meeting, he was just like, okay, let's schedule a test shoot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the shoot.
That was the purpose.
Did they charge you to try out for stuff?
No, because these guys were like probably getting off on shooting these young. You know what I mean?
Do you think that they were surreptitiously? Well, they were photographed. I guess they have all the photos. It's like they get their own free show.
Yes, yeah. I mean, imagine this is like a free for all.
I know.
Of like.
I've never thought of it exactly like that. This is like the perfect pervert's job. They just they put an ad, it costs them pennies, and they get all these women to show students, up and take off their clothes. This is you should write the next book, like The Brutal Truth.
No, so later on, I could tell you about like there was a huge like sex trafficking ring happening in San Diego, which you probably know about, the Girls Do Porn case.
Yes. Okay, well, let's get to that after your story.
Yeah. This was like an epidemic that was happening, maybe in a lot of college campuses, but definitely in San Diego. But I remember showing up to the apartment complex, walking up and not thinking anything strange. But when I like got into his apartment, I definitely felt like creeped out. But he was still being very nice and like professional. And to be honest, like I don't really remember that much after that. But what I do remember is like I've watched the video back, which like the video he ended up shooting and producing was like 40 minutes, but it was cut up in sequence. So it like, like parts that were in the beginning. Like I'm smiling at the end because that was from the pre-interview, but he like cut it up. But what I do kind of remember is like it started off with like an interview, just like, oh, who are you? Where are you from? Like really, really, really easy interviews. And then mostly what happened there, I've like pieced together more with logic, because I don't even know if up to that point I had just like ever been alone with a middle-aged man. Like at these other castings I went to, there were still like people around, or I don't know, like, but in this situation it was just me and him. And I feel like when I was growing up, I was very much taught to just listen to authority. Like, I was very polite and
Of course.
kind of submissive, honestly. Like, I was kind of just like a good girl. And he got me there and then just started coercing acts that were beyond just modeling. And I don't remember exactly how it started. And mind you, at this time, I've had a boyfriend for 1 year and I'm a virgin. I don't know if I've even seen a man's like
Penis.
Yeah.
The word.
Yeah. And like, yes, porn had started then, but I hadn't started watching it. I don't think it was readily available like it is now. Like, it wasn't as high speed, and you like don't want to go to the websites because you think you're going to get a virus. So I hadn't watched porn.
Yeah, but Kaila, like, this is where I'm a little older than you, and most of our guests wouldn't remember. Like, back at this time, there were cameras, like real handheld video cameras.
Yes, this was a handheld camera. Yeah.
Okay, fans and followers and listeners, they had like real like tripods and like what you're trying. Maybe if you think of what you see on a television show, those big ones, but these are like little handheld ones, and that was what they had. And it was VHS. There was like no such thing as streaming it online. It was sewing together real tape, and it was tough. I mean, you could do like, it was really hard. It was old school.
Yeah, I don't think he could have even edited it at home because this was produced for a DVD. Yeah, and it didn't get online until like years later when people started streaming videos. Yeah,
but I think like what's really interesting too, Kaila, to talk with you about this and let our listeners think about it. I love it because I think our listeners need context for like how, like what's been going on has been going on forever. It's been going on forever, as long as it was possible to even happen. And even when it was really hard and it took a long ass time, there were men this determined to do this kind of crap.
Yeah.
And it just took a long time. And it was even in some ways much more calculated and intentional because it took a long time to create this stuff. You know what I mean? Like now you can just do it like 2 seconds. You can hide stuff. I'm not saying like, oh, you pedophile pornographers, you have it so easy now. But I'm just saying, like, when I was reading about your story, Kaila, what I thought it was really fabulously powerful that you are able to tell this now. And I'm loving that we can talk about it in context of the, Asian culture. Like, and I lived in Japan, not that that counts for much, but in high school, I lived there when I was 17 for 3 months. And I watched it. I didn't even understand what I was watching, but the power dynamics, and especially in, the late 80s, were really different. And I'm not saying it's changed a ton, but there's just a lot to unpack. And I don't know. I love your bold self, though, going on all these shoots all by your lonesome.
Oh my God, I was so fearless. Like I write in the book, like I am so lucky. I mean, there's so many stories about these girls going on modeling shoots and never being found again.
I know.
So it was not a smart thing to be doing.
No,
at all.
It should be a smart thing. It should be allowable and
it
smart.
Should be okay. Yeah, it should be perfectly to do these things, but it's not.
Let's talk. Let me just ask a couple more questions, Kaila, that you might not have covered in the book, because I know people will want to read the book after our conversation. What I'm thinking is 2 things. I know you were not a virgin after this, and it's hard to remember.
We did not. He did not rape me.
So
yeah.
What happened?
This is why this situation, like, it was so weird to me, because it was like, okay, he coerced me into a bunch of other sexual acts, but when I said I was a virgin,
he didn't want to do that.
He didn't like push past that.
Oh, brave man.
Yeah, so then it made him seem like, oh, he's like somewhat respect. Like in my young mind, it was like, okay, like he, didn't force that on me. He tried to force a blowjob, and I had never given one before, so I was like, I don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing he forced was like oral on me.
Mm-hmm.
Which from that point I don't enjoy it anymore. Like that
Oh,
was my first experience
I
of it,
know.
and I've never enjoyed it.
Ever since.
And
So this is still
I mean, I never enjoyed it that time. It was horrifying, and yeah,
so it's one of those things like never going to come back. This is a part that you lost.
well, hopefully one day I can go to therapy and like fix
Okay.
it. But yes, like for now, like I don't enjoy that act.
I hear you.
And just some other hand job type stuff. Yeah. But it was just very explicit the way it was shot. Yeah.
Yeah, so you leave and you don't even know it exists. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. I left and I just never thought of it. Like I smushed it down and just didn't think about it. But it should have been like common sense that he would do something. But I guess I had no frame of reference, so maybe he could have just been making it for his own personal collection. What did I know? He did call me a week later, and he was like, "That was great. Do you want to shoot another one?" And I just didn't reply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go first.
No, I was gonna say, and nothing happened for a year. Yeah.
Okay. And then after that awful experience, did you continue? Like, what happened to this aspiration and wanting to do the photos and the modeling and the acting?
I stopped
Immediately. Like, not even.
I don't remember if it was immediately exactly, but maybe it was.
Right.
Because I don't recall any other shoots or auditions after that. And then during that time, I had already started dabbling and going to raves and like partying. And I really, really fell heavily into drugs after that. And I didn't really connect that until years later, looking back, like, oh, okay, that makes sense that I would have like really, really fell into drugs then. And I ended up like my grades fell to like a 1 point something, you know, and I ended up dropping out of school. And I do attribute it to that,
of course,
situation. And I do think dropping out of school was the best thing that ever happened to me, because the video came out later when I had moved back to LA, but I can't imagine what would have happened if I was still on campus.
Right. Oh, the harassment, I'm sure. So how long was the delay till you knew about it? How many years?
I think it was like about a year later.
A year. And
I had dropped out of school and I was just living my life in LA. And then I was starting to pursue the entertainment career again a little bit. And I ended up working with some women photographers, so I felt very safe.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
No. It's okay. Yeah. So I guess where I'd like to head with the next part of our conversation, if you could, is just, that was years ago. So maybe in the decades since, two things that really, I would, really just from that experience that have shape shifted, like what are two things that you think you mentioned the raves and the drug use, but other than that, are there any choices that you feel like you've made or realizations you've come to? Certainly the book is a testimony to all your understandings now, but as when you hit the later 20s and 30s and now 40s, kind of how as a woman your perspective has absorbed that experience over the last 3 decades.
I mean, how I think it really affected my life was that I always just thought I was damaged, like damaged goods. And just to always have this secret hanging out with you, you know, like I date guys and it'd be like, okay, they're going to find out, or either they already know about this because I was a known figure in the Asian community. So most people knew about
Mhm.
this video.
Mhm.
Or it was like I was dating someone who wasn't from the Asian community, and one day they would find out about this video. So it's just always having this thing following you around forever.
Mm.
So I've had to, you know, do a lot of therapy and other things to unwrite that feeling of damage, you know?
Mhm. And when you say damage too, Kaila, do you feel like it was like I have this? Well, you already talked about Sung Hee Lee. I don't know if I said her name right, but like kind of having a role model, and now. And even though she was in the quote industry, I think it's really interesting to think about you feeling damaged, and yet you were very, very comfortable showing off your body or being sexually available to a camera, if you want to say that. And I mean,
Yeah.
we don't even
Yeah.
have to say it that way, because I would say, like, hello, nude models have existed since the turn of the art century, in marble and, in hanging in the Louvre. But that detachment, or that feeling damaged, detachment from your body or sexuality, or feeling damaged, that's like, maybe we should talk a little bit about what that looked like to you, because we talk about that a lot on the show. And I'm curious, like, based on all the things you are, especially being an Asian American woman, like, how does that feel exactly to you? And maybe it's
Yeah.
gone now, but when it was like in its heightened state, like, what did it feel like, or what was the experience of it?
So I want to clarify one thing that might be confusing to
Okay.
outside people, but it's like there's a big difference amongst this world between Playboy and hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hugh Hefner, not that he's a terrible person, but he would never feature any girl who had done hardcore would
Oh,
never be a playmate. Like that was very looked down
rule.
upon.
Okay.
And I did end up doing Playboy and other stuff like that, and I don't feel damaged and ashamed of that. I feel like the hardcore was very, like the video of that existing is very humiliating.
Gotcha.
Like performing like that on camera. But like for a Playboy photo, it's like you're looking
Just gorgeous.
amazing. Like they're making you the most gorgeous version of yourself you can ever be
Mm-hmm.
in like these beautiful sets and mansions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to separate very much the damage was from the hardcore because
Right.
I never, and Sung Hee Lee never did anything remotely hardcore. It's always Playboy stuff.
Perfect. I'm glad you explained. And then,
Yeah.
but still, the violation of, how you were treated, and it coming through to you as feeling damaged. I guess, what did that feel like to you? And was it a constant, like, in the back of my mind, I'm less than, or was it when you were dating and you would get nervous? Like, what did the damage kind of express itself as?
That's a good question because I think in the decades of therapy, I've looked back and been like, oh, the whole time I thought I was like damaged goods. But I think what it really did to me is it actually drove my achievement because I was like, I need to accomplish this to prove that I am
Oh,
not that. So it ended up working. I don't know if you like talk about parts work, but it ended up being like a protector part, which
yeah.
like would strive and strive and strive. So in a
Yeah.
way, it helped me as a coping mechanism. But yes, I feel like I always dated men who were, not the greatest. Like one was like a drug dealer, because I think subconsciously that's what I thought my worth was. Not a guy who was like settled and, a good guy.
I
I
hear
don't think
you.
I think if you put a good guy in front of me back then, I wouldn't have even been attracted to him because I felt so unworthy inside. So I was more
Oh,
attracted to someone, who was not a good person.
Oh gosh, that's really brave of you to say it that way too, Kaila, because and I think you could probably extend it to it's ironic, like you were putting yourself out overachieving in so many departments, like areas. And then in the boyfriend department, it was like because it's so intimately connected to trust and capacity to offer a partnership to someone, perhaps that's where it really crept back in because that's where you have to be like two, right?
Mm.
This is like ultimately when we have a partner, half of it's not within our control, right? Because I think I would say you're making me think too, Kaila. Like I think that's totally was my coping mechanism. Like I'm out there like give me more lectures to do, give me more laws to pass, give me more stuff because all of that was external and it didn't mean building relationships or friendships or trust. It was just give me something hard to do. Just give me hard stuff and I'll do
No,
it.
that's such an interesting take, and I've never looked at it from that
And
perspective because I'm high achieving,
I
but
know the
not in the
same.
romance, not with the boyfriends. They're all like,
No, because
I'm with
we
these
need that.
guys, and my friends are like, why are you with this person? Like that's the kind of
Because
situation. Yeah,
I think that's how I was too. I'm like, I don't need any part of that anymore. It's too
yeah.
vulnerable, and it seems not just it drags us right back into trauma. And it's already hard enough to do a relationship even if you're not in trauma.
Hmm.
Like and
Hmm.
then it's like we have to double down and I think what's really cool, Kaila, is you figured out how to push all of that into something else that was amazing. So probably what you just said to me is like right on target. You took all of that damage and you're just like, I'll go do some other stuff that's awesome. And that's how you navigated around it. And I do think a lot of us who have that mindset, that's the chosen path.
Yeah.
And
I think the
it's
trauma
like
does
it
drive.
sounds hard to most people, but for us, it's like the only option.
Yeah, it's like I compare it to a protective shield. So every
Yeah,
accomplishment is like a shield
yeah, I
against.
love that. Well, so
Yeah.
tell us what those things you were doing were, because like, so where did you push all that talent?
Well, I pushed it. This was like the beginning of like MySpace. So before they had a
Oh,
word for
yeah,
influencer, you know?
okay. So for our listeners, MySpace
Oh yeah.
was like before Facebook, and it was kind of trying to be Facebook, but it was I don't know, maybe more
It's
artsy. I
funny.
don't
It
know
was so
how would you
wholesome back
describe
then. I feel like social media is evil now and damaging,
it?
but it was just like really a platform built for musicians actually to like get their music out.
Yeah,
And then people just came and you had customizable pages. So everybody would learn HTML to like make their page pink and
yeah.
glittery.
It was the original. You learned to code a little
Yeah.
bit.
um, I ended up getting into like this Asian import car show scene, which is like to give it reference because
Yeah, what does
nobody
that
knows
mean?
about it. Yeah, it's like Fast and Furious was inspired by this scene. So
Oh,
there was
cool.
like a racing scene where they had big car shows and like they had models, and if you were a model for these shows you would tour around the country to all of these shows. So I got into that and just spent like many years touring and just like doing appearances because I had a big following on MySpace. And then
That sounds fun
kind of
though, Kayla.
it was a
I
lot of
like.
fun. Yeah,
Do you
it was a
like?
lot
Do
of
you
fun.
actually drive the cars too? Are you?
No, I'm a terrible driver. And plus you have
Oh,
to know stick shift. Like it's not automatic. You have to know how to drive stick to
I
drive
love
these
stick
cars.
shift.
Okay, yeah, I have no idea how to do that. I could
Oh,
barely
it's
drive an
okay.
automatic car. Yeah.
I think I finally, for our listeners, I don't know, I finally would get like only stick shift and drive because I was giving speeches and I would drive myself all over the country.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, I want more gears. I
Yeah.
have, I had like a mountain of speeding tickets.
Oh
Oh my
wow.
God. I'm like,
Yeah, no, I never learned
I'm
that.
the Fast and Furious generation.
Okay.
So that's okay. So you did the car show and then what else have you done?
And then I got into music, and I ultimately started a band and we toured all over the world.
Yay.
Yeah, so it ended up completely leaving the pinup world and just going into something more artistic, which was what I ultimately wanted to do when I was younger, but it kind of took a
Right.
roundabout road.
I love it. I love it. And then I guess in the last like 5 or so minutes, when we could either talk about, I don't know if we want to talk about boys. I feel like you're too much fun to talk about like expression and creativity. I guess that understanding of vulnerability and being a victim, how has that impacted, if at all, like your artistic expression? And then wait, one more layer. And is it anything a little bit different as an Asian American woman? Is there anything unique that you would say, I also bring this perspective?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate gift of all the trauma that resulted from that situation is I don't think I would have ever written a book otherwise. The book actually came about because during the pandemic, there was so much Asian hate.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like it came out of nowhere and I had never experienced such hate. It was kind of like, oh, everybody's been thinking this, but now the president gave them permission to say it out loud. Like that was
wretched.
very disturbing, right? Because
Well,
I didn't know people were thinking this way.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't care what you stand for, but anyone who just blesses that you can be hateful just sounds, there should be no place. But anyway,
Yeah.
So you took that and you wrote the book.
Yeah, I had been a journalist at that time, and then the Atlanta spa shootings happened where the young white man went and shot 8 people and 6 of them were Asian women. And then all Asian women knew it was like fetish and sexually motivated, which it was later revealed. And then that's what ultimately inspired the book, because it was like, oh, well, the media is trying to gaslight us and tell us this is not sexually or racially motivated when it clearly was. But yeah, all of that happened. Like I never aspired to write a book, but it just kind of came out of all the stuff that was happening. And there not existing a book about the Asian fetish.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you did, Kaila. I think it's so important to have every perspective and every voice heard. And I guess I resonate a lot, even though our stories are like dramatically different. I think when you're 18, 19-year-old and you go through this, and I too was a virgin, like, I was the overachiever. Like we had similar childhoods.
Yeah.
It's like, you're never good enough. Go do more stuff.
Yeah.
You got an A-. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That one. Like what happened here? Did you miss one?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really understand. And I also, I guess maybe we could talk about the last thing you mentioned, parts work. And for our listeners that don't know that, there are some other episodes where we talk about EMDR, and parts work is kind of taking like your whole, I'm going to summarize it, but you could do it too, Kaila. After I give it my best shot, maybe you could give it a go. But it's kind of like, my understanding is we are broken into different pieces of work. Like we're not just a multiple personality, like, but we have different parts of who we are that take over in different situations to help us navigate. And my coping, I'll just say, Kaila, for you and then our listeners, like my coping is like the over pleaser, like to thwart duress or stress or like more turbulence or more pain or more abuse. It's like just over please and make sure everyone's okay and happy, and then hopefully nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
So my mechanism is like my overly generous self often is the one, and that turns in like overachiever you mentioned. But I would just say, like, for our listeners, a good takeaway, other than all the goodness of Kaila's interview, is just kind of looking at how you operate under duress and where you head. But what would you, Claire, I don't know if I said that well, what would you say, Kaila?
I'm not an expert by any means, but I think you gave a very good explanation of it. Like my parts are, I have a rage part. After that assault and I processed it, I did not let men like fuck with me anymore after that.
I became
kind of rageful. Like there was rage. I would get really mad. I would take it out on boyfriends, honestly. But and then I had the rage part and I had the striving part. And then I have the wounded child, and then the teenager. But yeah, it's really just been this year where I've even been like having the rage step down and letting the striving step down and just like interface with the wounded parts and letting them feel the terrible feelings, which it's good to let yourself feel grief, because then when you feel it, you don't have to like have it in your subconscious for decades like I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I guess the last thing is, what's next for you, Kaila? You did the book, and just paint a picture. I know you're doing a lot of things now. So what are you doing now, and what do you plan to do next?
Yeah, so I'm gonna spend the next year just promoting and touring the book, doing a lot of colleges, working on a second book idea, and then also my dream is to develop it into a TV series of some sort. So,
oh, fun!
Yeah, hopefully I'll have news on that later.
Oh, that would be awesome. I could totally see that happening. It would be really good. I think you could do so many characters already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, I don't know. Going back to see your mom, your brother, you could toss them in here and there.
Yeah.
I'll help you. Yeah, especially I think, when you get all the sensory stuff in there, that's what brings it to life for all of us.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just super excited to have you on the show, and your work and your voice needed to be heard. And I'm sorry that it came from other types of hate and victimization of Asian women that propelled you. But thank goodness you took up the torch and you carried it, and you said, let's talk about more parts of this and more ways that we are victimized. And I don't know, it's like we could keep trying to change the laws around how the kinds of work happened, like where, licenses. I don't know. It's so hard. It gets overwhelming, but I think the best things are what we can do and be positive about. And clearly you've achieved tons. So I guess when I was asked kind of at the end, like if there's a moment when you get stuck or you get trapped in a bad mood cycle or the rage, like what's a tip or trick you would give our listeners that helps you pull out?
I have been recommending this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. It's a very short read or audible listen, and it's just like he just teaches you to say like, I love myself, and that becomes like your automatic wiring instead of like all the negative talk that probably most of us have. But I kind of, when I'm in a like negative spiral, I meditate and like do other practices, but I'll go visit my wounded little girl in my chest and just like give her a hug and tell her I love her, like all the things that I wasn't told. I tried to reparent her, is what they say.
Yeah, that's so great. I can totally see that happening, Kaila. Thank you for sharing everything. And we'll make sure we put the book in show notes. And, for all of our college students who are doing Take Back the Nights, I hope if Kaila's touring and near you, she will come and speak, and maybe you'll get to hear her in person. So thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. And then to our listeners, I continue to ask you to journal along, come back and like look at what you wrote down in the past and see if there's something new. Or I like the idea of like mixing and mashing up some of the episodes that you've really enjoyed and listening to them back to back, because you might hear something differently after hearing another person's voice and their story. So we are always together, thriving and strengthening and healing. And until our next episode, take really good care of your wonderful self. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Katie. These conversations are never easy, but they're always necessary, and we're so grateful you chose to share this space with us. If something in today's episode stirred something within you, please give yourself what you need. Whether that's rest, support, or just a deep breath, you're not alone. To hear more stories, resources, and survivor-centered conversations, be sure to subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to hear from you, so please leave us a review and share your feedback. Your thoughts help us create episodes that resonate with listeners. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.